The 2018 hunting season was one that tested us like none before. Every season seems to have its peaks and valleys, but this season, the gap between them was greater. Almost nothing went as we had expected. We tried things we had never done before. When things got tough, it got tougher. When it felt hopeless, miracles happened. We returned to some hallowed ground. We ventured into new country. We found answers. We were left with even more questions. Both dreams and nightmares became reality. Some chapters came to a close, new chapters began, and others seemed to have no end. We felt pain and we experienced joy, and we were thankful for every minute of it. I'm a bow hunter at heart. It's what I know and love. I get lots of questions pertaining to bows, arrows, releases, broadheads, fletchings, etc. But one thing I never get is any questions about guns, and for good reason. I know next to nothing about them. But there is a gun I have been drawn to for as long as I can remember. A weapon that isn't going to help me connect with an elk as much as it is with an arrow. Even someone with no interest in the past could not go anywhere out west without being reminded of the mountain man era. So much of the West is named after guys like Jim Bridger, John Coulter, and Jedediah Smith. I cherish the opportunity I often get to walk the same ridges and valleys they once did. But recently I've been wanting an even closer connection. There is no way of knowing what it truly felt like to be a mountain man in those days, but there is no better way I can think of to get a small taste than to use one of their most coveted possessions on a late-season elk hunt in the Rocky Mountains they once called home.
Well, it's hard to even describe how excited I am. This is a pretty unusual feeling for me to be going on an elk hunt and feel like I'm headed into completely uncharted territory. And I've been on a lot of elk hunts. I have a lot of elk hunting experience in a lot of different places. So typically when I go on elk hunts, I don't have quite the same feeling I have right now. This is really new to me, not just the weapon, but the time of year and the conditions we're dealing with. I'm super excited. Typically, when I'm archery hunting, we might get a little snow here and there in September, but generally it's pretty nice fall weather. This week that I have to hunt, it is supposed to be brutally cold. Tomorrow is supposed to be a high of 15 and a low of negative 11. While that's cold, in my mind, that's what I've been hoping for this hunt. I just wanted snow, cold weather, the whole late season elk hunting experience. Pretty excited to wake up in the morning and hopefully we'll get to spotting some elk. Well, it cleared off last night. Good thing we had the wood that we had chopped up yesterday, because we went through a lot of it last night. It was super cold, but that's really kind of what we were hoping for hunting. Now, I'm no expert on hunting late season elk. I haven't done a lot of it, but I've filmed quite a few late season elk hunts, and from what I gather, those bulls will be okay with laying out in the wide open to let the sun hit them if it's this cold. So we're gonna head up a road here. I picked a glassing spot out on Google Earth that looked pretty good, but this is totally new country to me. I've never been here before, which is part of the draw, part of the excitement to me is when we get up there and the sun comes up, I'm going to be looking at country I've never seen before, and I love that. That's just one of the things about hunting that is really exciting to me, is just getting to look at new country, explore. So we're going to head up that road, get up there and try to get in a good glassing spot and hopefully glass some bulls at sunup.
Well, end up being a beautiful glassing spot. You see just as much country as I was hoping for. Looks about like I was thinking it might. That's the good news. The bad news is it's right here in a windy spot, and there's not really any way to glass and get out of the wind. I was starting to kind of wonder if we were too high. You know, I was just starting to feel like Randy and I are the only living creatures up here, and that everything that has any sort of sense at all would be down lower elevation, but some deer just popped out, so that's pretty encouraging. If deer are here, the elk are here, because the deer will definitely leave long before the elk. So hopefully as the sun comes up and kind of starts hitting all these different hillsides, the elk will start coming out, getting in the sun, because it is freezing cold. It's a lot colder than the forecast called for. I don't know, we might have to go get out of the wind after a little while and build a fire to stay warm, but I'm gonna glass as long as I can stand it anyway.
The Western Hunter is presented by Browning, the best there is. Benchmade knives, the most advanced hunting knives ever. Wilderness Athlete, fuel for the rugged. Option Archery, bringing target precision to hunting camp. Matthews Archery, Crispy Boots, and Western Hunter Magazine. This segment is presented by Wilderness Athlete, the authority on outdoor performance nutrition.
Well, we switched areas just a little bit, tried some lower country, and this is just a beautiful spot. We spotted some cows over on the slope across from us, a couple moose, there's a bull and a cow over on this hill, and a few deer up high. Pretty good variety of animals. Seem pretty relaxed in this area. We're up on a little glassing spot here, got a pretty good view, 360, but finally, I mean, just the wind just died down within the last hour. It's just been brutal all day. So hard to glass for more than 20 minutes before you're just freezing. I mean, you couldn't layer enough, or put on enough socks. We have toe warmers, everything. It's just brutally cold. I mean, even right now it's in the low teens, but just the fact that the wind stopped, it feels so nice. And I feel like we gotta see a bull here. So we got probably maybe another 20-30 minutes of sunlight, and then we'll probably have another 20 or 30 minutes after that of glassing. So hopefully we'll spot a bull here. It feels like we're going to see one. No sign of bulls tonight. But for an elk hunter like me that has a ton of experience, different experiences elk hunting, mostly in August, September, October, this is just so different. One of the things tonight that really just stood out as being completely different is in September when I'm used to hunting elk, there's so many noises that the mountains produce. I mean, there's chipmunks and squirrels constantly chattering. The grasshoppers are chattering during the heat of the day. The crickets are going at night. There's frogs in the ponds and elk are bugling. It's just, there's lots of noises. And this time of year, it was so quiet. It's unbelievable. It almost makes my ears ring because I'm just trying, my ears are trying to hear something, but there's nothing. But it's pretty fitting just looking at it, It's like, it looks quiet. Pretty productive day for not seeing a bull. We covered some country, located some elk. I feel optimistic about tomorrow.
The Western Hunter is presented by Swarovski Optic, see the unseen. Browning Ammunition, Victory Archery, the Carbon Arrow experts. Outdoorsman's Packs and Tripods. Valkyrie Archery, the ultimate modern broadhead delivery system. Tally, the world's finest optics mounting system, and Dark Timber Coffee Company. This segment is presented by Browning Speed, Killer Clothing.
Well, I haven't been at this glassing point for 10 minutes, and I'm already starting to get cold. It's just, I am kind of overwhelmed. Like, I'm just completely confused. Like, I feel like I'm getting farther away from killing an elk with every hour that goes by. We came back to this exact same glassing spot, this where we started the hunt, because we were just down in the timber, down low, or in the dark timber, and there's a bunch of fresh tracks down there. We thought, well, we know they're here. Let's go back up here. And it's perfect conditions. It's perfect. They should be out right now, and I don't know what is going on. Like, they're just not in the places that I'm used to being able to get up on a point and glass. So I don't know. We're gonna try to get this fire going big enough that Randy and I can stay warm and try to stick this out for another hour and a half or something if we can stay warm, and maybe we'll get lucky and something will pop out. We just need one, and it doesn't need to be a big one, but I can't remember like ever feeling like this on an elk hunt. I mean, I've been frustrated on elk hunts. I've been on some pretty tough ones, but I usually at least feel like even if the hunting's tough, I have enough experience to kind of have some confidence in what I'm doing and have a game plan that I have some faith in. And right now I don't really have any faith in that I'm doing anything that I should be, but I guess that's just part of learning. You know, new areas, new time of year, new weather conditions. You know, totally foreign to me, and it's kind of whipping me right now.
It's not looking like I would have made a very good mountain man at this point, but I sure didn't come here with this weapon expecting it to be easy. But it wasn't the gun that was making it tough. It was my lack of experience hunting elk this time of year. The tactics I used so effectively during archery seasons in August, September, and October were not producing for me now. I was forced to make some adjustments, and even resorted to simply following elk tracks in the snow, which I actually enjoyed. After all, Jim Bridger didn't have a pair of Swarovskis dangling from his neck. But ultimately, I ended up leaving here without ever laying eyes on a bull elk. After hunting season came to a close, I considered possibly planning my second attempt with my muzzleloader earlier in the season, during September or October, a time I have more experience with hunting elk. But there was just something about the cold and the snow that made me feel a little more like a mountain man. A poor starving one, but a good feeling nonetheless. So I started making arrangements for another late season hunt. This time around, my wife Dana and 8-month-old son Carter would be joining me in base camp, along with Dana's parents, Matt Nettermeyer, who's on the camera, and last but not least, our yellow lab Goose. One of the things I love about late season hunts, unlike my early hunts, is that the nights are long, so there is more time to spend in camp at night being with my family. Times like these are easily the best, most cherished moments in my life.
I feel like he's howling because he can see our headlamps.
Yeah,
Don't you?
that's what I was thinking too.
You rolling?
Yep.
Well, it's our first morning of my muzzleloader hunt. Since we just ended up finding a nice camp spot right next to this trail, it just made sense to come up here this morning on our first morning. We haven't made it maybe a half mile. And we finally just got up to a little hill here, and we can hear wolves not very far away up here. And the closer we get, the more noise they keep making. I think it's because they can see our headlamps. Definitely not the best sign in the world for the start of an elk hunt, but it's still pretty neat to hear them, even though I kind of wish they weren't right where we're going this morning. But the wolves have been here a long time, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be elk up here somewhere. There's some elk. Oh, we just broke up out of the creek bottom here that we've been hiking out for the last hour and a half or so, and we haven't made it 75 yards off the bottom. I just spotted some elk back over this other way, kind of on a north slope. I can't tell if they're bulls or cows, but we get set up here where we can get an angle through the trees and put the spot and scope on them and see what they are. Bulls. Well, there's actually a pretty nice bull up there. There's 3 or 4 cows and a bull that's with them, and then a few younger bulls just came over the ridge there. So I think we're going to keep going up on my original plan because those are still quite a ways away. I think it would take us a while to get there. Since we're already right here, I think we're just going to keep going. It's cool to see elk, like basically the first time I throw binoculars up to my eyes. So it's definitely a way better start than last time I tried muzzleloader hunting. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic about today. I spotted another elk actually way down here by the creek. Not a big bull, it's a 5-point. If it was a big 5-point, we'd probably try to put a stalk on him, but I just want to get up here. Like, I've been thinking about this place for months. Sometimes I feel like I go past elk because I'm trying to get to a spot, but this spot is just a spot I gotta get to.
This segment is presented by Benchmade Hunt, the most advanced hunting knives ever.
Well, after the hot start this morning, things really tapered off as far as elk sightings. We sat up on a glassing point for a while and didn't see very much at all, and just started working out this ridge. Weather blew in and just stopped right here to look in this little draw and just spotted 4 nice bulls. I think we're going to try to put a stalk on them. They're just kind of feeding their way over right now, and I don't think they know we're here. As soon as we were starting to try to move in on those bulls, it started snowing and it kind of got socked in. Since everything seemed like it just was kind of working against us, I just decided to stay put and wait for it to clear. And now that it's cleared off, the wind's going the wrong direction for us to be able to come in from above, and to come in from below them wouldn't be a bad option because the wind would be favorable, but there's a herd of deer right down below them. I'm not really sure what to do, but first of all, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can get out of this little timber patch without them seeing me, and then go from there. Well, we made it over there to where we saw those bulls were hanging out, and as soon as we started trying to make a stalk on them, they picked us off. So we just decided to bail. We dropped down to the trail and started hiking out. Spotted a decent bull up on the hill, a little on the young side. Still early in the hunt, we got time. I'd really like to attempt to take a mature bull for a while, but like a trophy elk isn't why I chose to go on this hunt and use, a Hawkins style muzzleloader with black powder and a patched round ball. I mean, this is what I'm after, is taking an elk with this. I'd love to combine the two, but I'd love just experience taking an elk with this weapon. So, man, I was feeling super optimistic this morning, but that's just normal, like usually when I start a hunt, I'm just super excited, full of energy, real optimistic, and I'm still really excited, but it didn't take very long for reality to kind of set in when we were up there today that this is going to be hard. It was definitely a good day, though. We saw quite a few bulls, a lot of them a long ways off, but I'm excited to see what we can find in the morning. Well, Matt and I just made it up to the top here just a little while ago, and in a new spot this morning. We just decided, since we kind of spooked those bulls that were in that other spot yesterday, that we'd just try something a little different today. And I haven't seen anything yet. Haven't even glassed up any tracks in the snow, which I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with this country, but I've never been here this late in November, so there doesn't feel like there's enough snow to push them out of here. But the sun hasn't been up too long, so hopefully we can spot something before it gets too late in the morning. It is pretty cool to get back up here. I haven't been up in this country for almost 20 years. It's just everywhere I look, I've got awesome memories of those big first adventures. This is kind of what I've been hoping for. A handful of bulls by themselves, and they're all 6 points. With any luck, we'll get in on them before they bed down for the day.